mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about episode 7 of Apple TV's Dark Matter, entitled In the Fires of Dead Stars. This was an interesting episode. It continued to do a lot of the things that I've criticized the show for, but it did have some of the show's best moments, I think, as well. I don't ever think this show is bad, but it has been kind of stuck in the mud for several weeks now. And this episode, it had a couple of big moments that seems to have propelled it out of the muck and toward the finale. And the biggest turn of events, I think, in this episode is that we seem to, thankfully, have rid ourselves of Amanda. Now, I'm sure Amanda's probably going to come back again in these final 2 episodes, but right now, it feels really good that I might not have to deal with at least that version, the version of Amanda that I don't like. The one that's a therapist for new Jason in OG Jason's world, don't care about that Amanda. The Amanda that we've been with this whole time, glad she's gone. I jokingly said on Facebook that I was curious if the show would start moving now that we rid ourselves of the anchor that is Amanda. But I'll be damned, like, that's exactly what the fuck happened. But if you think about it, it makes sense. OG Jason's been trying to get back to his Daniela and Charlie this whole time. And Amanda has essentially been a detour from that. Slowing down Jason's quest to get home has it effectively slowed down the show. They needed to find more time to just shoehorn in this relationship between Jason and Amanda and just spend more. Like it felt like they wanted to fill an 9-episode order rather than telling the best story that they could. But now that Amanda's decided to selfishly stay in the perfect world for her, now that she's ruined Jason's chances of seeing his family again, at least from her perspective at the time, of course OG Jason can now focus on getting back to his world and the show can start moving again. And no sooner than Amanda is gone, we're treated to a great sequence of scenes when Jason goes into a world where Max has lived. Edgerton crushes this great scene where he's on the phone with Daniela outside of their house and watching her like outside of the window. And they have this romantic conversation and it's so sad. And all the while he's like tearing up because he's basically like, he's setting up the perfect night for another Jason and coming to the realization that this could be it for him. At this point, I think he had 2 vials left at this point, and it almost kind of felt like he was saying goodbye. And then he sneaks into the house at night and watches them sleep. Watching them sleep is a little bit extreme. He didn't linger that much, but he seemingly gave consideration to doing to this world's Jason what new Jason did to him. Heavy shit, man. Like the way he's clutching his chest, the sound of the train going by. It was a pretty intense scene. Then, as if that wasn't enough, just as he's about to sneak out after crying by himself in the kitchen, he runs into who he thinks is Charlie, but it ends up being Max, which, I mean, that even caught me by surprise. Like, I didn't see that coming. That was a great moment. The realization that we all collectively came to, like, holy shit, this is a world where Max is alive. Like, that was a good moment. The two of them share a great scene where we know what this means to Jason, but we also learn that the Max here is dealing with a lot of guilt. Guilt of having the heart of a young girl who gave her life so he could fail in trigonometry, apparently. But I mean, I'm joking, I kid, but that was a really good scene. Hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today, Mike's Musings where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD where you can commission me to watch a show which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there since it's the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not going to lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, Feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review. But was I not right though? Like, it's like as soon as the show shed itself of Amanda, it immediately produced the best the best scenes of the season so far. And it's crazy, right? Oh man, I love it though. Amanda left with a bang too. Like with only a few vials left, Amanda decides Amanda's like, this will be a good time to piss away a couple more vials by going on a vacation. And she takes control and she takes OG Jason to this like utopian Chicago where everyone agrees about science and you can eat your cups. The perfect place. In the last episode, Jason kicked her out of bed because he wanted to make sure that he stayed loyal to his vastly superior wife that he's trying to return to. So of course, Amanda would respond by planning a romantic date in a revolving restaurant above the clouds in a building named after Barack Obama. What a fucking moron this character is. It's a married man. He don't want you. Anyway. After she lays out her plan for setting up her perfect life after ruining Jason's like, wow, so I see you've thought this all through. Thought this through? Amanda doesn't think, Jason. Like, the only reason that plan even worked was due to shit that she couldn't have accounted for, like that world having a missing Amanda. That one piece that doesn't happen, then none of this works out. Like, Amanda didn't plan shit, man. Come on. Oh, man. I hate this character. So to sum up, Amanda took the whole season to understand what the fuck was going on. And once she was done ruining Jason's chances of going home, she set herself up perfectly in a perfect world for her and left Jason with 3 vials. What a piece of shit. Oh, man. I fucking hate Amanda. Lastly, I'm already at lastly. Lastly, this episode introduced a new turn of events that kind of left me a little baffled. Last week, after Ryan confronted new Jason about stealing his tech, Jason left him on a random world and he sealed the box up. This week, I don't know, this random, very young-faced and visually expressive cop, I didn't believe shit Jason said. Okay, that's what you're saying? All right. Mm-hmm. Like, very like, I don't believe anything you're saying. She comes by Jason's crib to question him about Ryan, whose girlfriend has reported him missing. Once that situation gets a little bit too hot, Jason breaks a hole in the concrete surrounding the box, finds a Ryan that apparently no one's gonna miss, and just brings this motherfucker back to OG Jason's world. I don't know where that's going. That feels foolish. That Ryan could cause all sorts of trouble for Jason. I don't know. It could also be just a lazy way of making the box accessible so that OG Jason could get back through again. I don't know. There's a part of me that feels like we're not going to see the cop again, and that whole storyline is going to be completely forgotten about. Now, you can't even call it a storyline. That whole whatever you would call that is going to be completely forgotten about, and the only reason it existed was so that he'd have to break a hole in the box. I don't know. But he does break a hole in the box, and at the very end, and OG Jason does return through that hole with his very last vial, after writing a heartfelt letter about the first time he saw Daniela, which, why did he waste vials on changing the color of neon signs when he could have been writing that fucking letter? I don't get it, man. Like, the combination of him finding the perfect words at the perfect time and this random cop popping up causing new Jason to have to break open the concrete surrounding the box, it was a little too perfect for my taste. A little bit too on the nose. But in an episode featuring those great scenes with Max and Daniela in the world where Max lived, I'm willing to let the ridiculous turn of events that got OG Jason back home to his world, I'm willing to let that slide. It's implausible and it's ridiculous, but I mean, in a season full of things that kind of just made me go, all right, whatever. That's not. I mean, I've seen worse in this season. We end the episode with new Jason learning that OG Jason is back because they both have the same idea of going into a gun store to get a gun. And I see why OG Jason wants a gun. He's ready to confront the guy that stole him out of his world and tried to steal his family. I'd have got a gun before I even went to the house, but he had to verify he was in the right world. but I'm not sure why new Jason had the same urgency for a gun that OG Jason had. What does he need a gun for? The last thing we saw new Jason do before he went to go urgently buy a gun was solve the problem of the cop chasing him. So or not chasing him, but you know what I mean, like the cop that's clearly suspects him. Like, why does he need to buy a gun? I don't know. Anyway, these are the kinds of things the little things that this show doesn't consider that great shows do. All in all, I did think this was a solid episode, though. I'm glad to be rid of Amanda. The show immediately improved after she left. The scenes in the world where Max was alive were great. The best scenes of the season, in my opinion. But there are still moments that felt like the writers just weren't concerned with being creative about how they were going to get characters to the places that they wanted to get them to. I thought this was an 8-episode season, but it's actually 9, so we don't have 1 more. We have 2 more. I can't imagine how they're going to fill another 2 hours, but I guess we'll see next week. So until next week, peace.